My lords, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to episode number 11 of the O Canada Let's Play Transport Fever 2 series. In episode number 10 we'd finished off our Calgary main line, and that now runs from Cochrane through to Calgary and then onwards towards Okotoks and out towards Canmore? Nanton, that's the one. Nanton. I probably should have checked that before I made a bit of a tit of myself, but never mind. So this is now episode number 11 and we're going to continue with some passenger shenanigans, but this time we're going to be heading into the Rockies. It's something I've been waiting to do for quite a while. Obviously I know we did do a freight line which was sat just above here. However, doing a passenger line is just a lot better in some respects, I think. I don't know why. It makes no difference really, but yeah, I'm just excited to do it. So at the moment we're sat in the Rocky Mountains, as we can see, and we are sat near the town of Canmore, which is a very long thin town nestled against the side of the mountains. So this is going to be our first destination, and our Rocky Mountain line is going to start from Cochrane. So we'll have to do some work at Cochrane and then we're going to head over this way, and then from here on out we're going to progress through the Rocky Mountains and just see how far we can get. Obviously the ultimate goal will be to completely traverse the Rockies, but that won't be done today, not even close. Anyway, let's just move on and make a start. As we're heading over towards Cochrane, to where we're going to, as I just said, make our starting point and the start of our Rocky Mountain Railway, I just want to say to all of you who have been watching the videos, leaving a like, commenting and obviously subscribing, thank you very much. I think at the minute my current record for likes on a video is 11, so as a bit of a challenge I'd like to see if we can get more on this one. So obviously that's down to you guys, and I leave my fate in your hands and I pray that you be kind. But let's get started, shall we? So we're going to need more platforms here. At the minute we have only one platform being used. However, because this is going to form the start of our Rocky Mountain Railway, and also it's also going to head out towards Bottrell in the future, and maybe even Airdrie, we are going to need some more platforms at some point. So I'm just going to go ahead and put one down just for now. However, given the fact that this platform number 1, is empty, we're probably more than likely going to use platform 1 as our Rocky Mountain platform. So how are we going to get over there? That's the first question. Well, what we're going to want to do is obviously head out straight, because as per usual, I'm sure you're used to this, me saying this by now, I like to keep things nice and flat as they leave any stations, because it gives us the opportunity to extend our platforms outwards if we need to. It also means we should have an easier time setting up the diamonds that we may or may not require. I say that and clearly I'm not having the best time of this because I've offset it like some sort of fool. Never mind, there we go, that's still offset. I'm just gonna go into a dark corner and cry and pretend that never happened. Okay, so let's just ignore that. What we want to do is clearly head towards the Rocky Mountains this way. Now, before we go any further with the track, if we head over to Canmore, which is the first town we are going to stop at, we notice we have a bit of a challenge here. Now, some of you may have read the comments on episode number 10, where Peter Ray mentioned that he also has this map and has made a start on a Rocky Mountain Railway himself and headed out as far as Banff. Now, we discussed Canmore and its unique situation, and he gave me an idea as to where to put the train station for Canmore, so shamelessly I'm going to rip him off. I hope you don't mind, but it is probably the best and most sensible solution to the terrain issues we have in this area. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my station on the other side of the river, like so, and then we're obviously going to have to put in a road connection in the future so the residents of Canmore can actually make use of their new station. I've just realised I have put that in probably the most ridiculous position I could have chosen. So let's try that again. As it was, the trains were going to head straight into a mountain, and we don't want that. So let's just adjust it just a touch, shall we? Maybe there. Although, another issue, if we put it there, then there's no way to get a road connection onto the station building. So let's just move it away from the freight line. Maybe about there. We could. In fact, we'll swing it this way around. And we'll put it there. I think that's going to be a good enough place. And now we don't really have that much room here to have both a freight and passenger line run side by side. So for a while, our freight trains and our passenger trains are going to have to make do with sharing a line. So I hope they play nice. I'm sure they will. But let's get this connected in, shall we? So I'm going to do my usual trick, and to ensure to guarantee a smooth crossing, we will run parallel initially, and then we will have a nice merge without any of the ugly overlaps. So now that these connected in, we can put a diamond in if we have the room on the track, given the curve that we have here. Oh no, too much slope. The tracks are parallel. I'm not sure what's going on there, but we'll just adjust it slightly. Perhaps if we have a shorter diamond. Let's have a look here. Can we get this to fit in? No. Okay, this diamond then is probably going to have to be straight after the station, like that, and it's going to have to be a very slow junction. But we have it in, finally. Took a bit of faffing about, but we got there. So, as I said, our trains are going to have to share a stretch of this line here. However, we don't want our passenger trains running too far down here, because obviously we want to be crossing the river and heading over towards Cochrane. So what we're going to do is we'll take a point here. Again, we'll run it parallel to ensure we have the smoothest junction possible, which we now do. And at this point, the tracks are going to split from one another, and our passenger line is going to head over the river and then make his way towards Cochrane, just like so. It's that is actually a very nice sort of scenic bridge there with the mountain backdrop, and over this side we can see the river flowing down towards Calgary. But enough about that, we need to get this train line put in, don't we? So head back up here now that we've made a start down there. We've got a rough target. We can just about make out the tracks there and the bridge, if you see. So that's where we want to be aiming for. Now obviously we have a small issue of crossing not only a freight line but a freight station and freight exchange yard. So rather than attempting to cross that immediately, what we'll do is just delete this curvature, take the track a little further out a ways. We don't want a bridge, however, like that. And now we're pointing more away from the station so we can do what we need to do a little bit cleaner in order to cross this freight line here. Now, I think the best option here would be to tunnel underneath, if we can achieve it without having a slope on our track that is prohibitively excessive. But let's find out, shall we? So at the minute we've got a medium gradient, which is more than fine, and as we can see we have been able to dig a tunnel, and what we'll do now is we'll actually keep him flat like so, yep, there we go. And now we want to be emerging from the tunnel but also heading down at the same time, because we don't want to get too far with this tunnel. We don't want to be overkill here. So if we come out like that, let's get it straight if we can. There we go. Now we are climbing upwards, but if we keep him level, while we aren't actually dropping down, we have dropped down in terms of the lay of the land, if you follow my logic. Hopefully this should work out quite nicely, but we shall see. Now you do want to be heading down, so that's fine. We'll let the game determine the ideal gradient for us for now. However, we do have quite a steep drop off here where this hill runs away down to the riverside. So we're probably going to want to override what the game suggests, although it is giving us the maximum slope already, so there's not much we can do with that other than take it. So we've done that not too bad. Obviously we have had to raise up here, but the slope would otherwise be too excessive, I think. Unless, let's just take this back just to about there before we hit the crest of this hill. And if we stretch the track out even further, yes, it's going to be quite awkward this. So we have two options. We can either go with the huge viaduct, which is what the game was trying to give us, or we could curve around and start heading down, which would extend the length of our track and allow us to bleed off some of that gradient over a longer distance, which should eliminate the need for us to have a sudden viaduct, although even still it looks like it's going to be close here. I mean, we can't even swap that to earthworks without it looking utterly ridiculous, let's be honest. Okay, perhaps we need to have a little rethink, take all of this back. There we go. We'll go back as far as where we emerged from our tunnel. And what we'll do is, rather than letting the game determine the gradient as we did previously, we'll force the track down like so. So then once we get through this little hill here, we should find ourselves a lot closer to ground level, which should mean we're not going to need an extremely tall and long viaduct. Let's see. Look, much better. That is much better. Now this has given us a high gradient climb here. However, I think that's a lesser of two evils in this situation, so we'll accept that. We'll go with it and we'll have to make do. I'm just going to check here what sort of level crossing that's given us. Now the cutting is giving us a weird terrain artifact here, look, with these angular sort of cuts into the earth. However, we should be able, well, in fact we will be able to take the edge off those with a bit of terrain modification at the end. I don't like the way that track rises there. It almost looks like one track is higher than the other, which is strange. We're not putting a dock here. That's not going to do any good. Let's just try this again and see what that looks like now. Okay, so we are still climbing, but it doesn't look as bad as it did, and the tracks look a lot more level than they did as well. And from here on out, in fact, we should be able to do a quick completion here like this. Okay, so we are now going to want to put some signals in here to protect this junction and allow our trains to wait for clearance should a freight train be passing. We can't put any blocking in here because it is one way, and we want to avoid the possibility of having trains face off against one another. I've had enough of that so far in this series. So we'll keep that quite simple like that. However, do we want to put a clearing signal in? No. We might need one later, but for now I think we should be okay. The reason I was thinking about the clearing signal there is we don't want our trains waiting on the single track, potentially blocking a freight train what's carrying millions of dollars worth of steel from getting into Calgary for too long. but we can address that later if it does become an issue. However, for now we're not going to have many trains on this line, perhaps even just the one to begin with. Now that might be a bit counter to what I'm doing here, because I'm putting quite a lot of blocks in. I've just realised that wasn't intentional. I was flying in autopilot, so to speak, but never mind, we've got them in now, so we shall keep them. Okay, so we have a rail connection. Of course, there's no way for the residents in Canmore to actually get here though, or for the visitors to leave the station and get into the town. Let's just give ourselves a nice level connection there. That's not level at all. Okay, what we might need to do here is just very quickly smooth this lip here, just on the front of the station. Or in fact, even better, if we level it using the level of the station building as our guide, that should now give us a perfectly smooth and level connection. Let's have a look now. Yes, that's better. Obviously there's still the drop there from the curb, but there's nothing we can do about that. Okay, so now I need to get this road and connect it over the river into the town itself. And that in itself is going to be a bit of a logistical challenge, let's be honest. Let's see, how can we do this? No, we're not going to do it like that, that's for certain. Let's try coming and get it from this way. Let's see, so that's climbing quite a lot, isn't it? In terms of the slope on the bridge, it looks... I don't know, in my mind a bridge should be level. I don't know why I think that. I don't think there's any reason they have to be. Well, in fact they don't, do they? You get humpback bridges all the time. But they tend to hump up and hump back down. What we had there was a ski ramp. Okay, let's have a little fiddle then. No giggling at the back. And we'll see what we can achieve here, because this is going to be quite awkward. Could we... Okay, yes. What I'm trying to do here, you may have figured it out already. Yes, that's exactly what I wanted. That's not. How far can we go before we lose the... There it is. Yes. What I'll do off camera is I'll just tidy this little bit up here. Maybe put a retaining wall or something like that to mask the weird sort of... I don't even know how to describe that, but we'll mask that with a bit of terrain modification and some assets. Okay, so we've crossed the river. Now we just need to connect into the town itself, which should he says, be relatively straightforward. Perhaps if you just stay level for now, yes, and then you can climb as you come this way. Climb to your heart's content, in fact. Go wild. Perhaps not that wild though, we don't want to bridge. Okay, we're still not quite at the level of the town roads yet, but we're not far off. We don't want to bridge. Oh. Okay. Okay, there we go. So this is all going to remove a few buildings here, which is unfortunate, but if it gives us a decent connection, yes, then it's a price I'm willing to pay. What we'll do now then, just very quickly, is just smooth the edge off here. I thought I did that then by smoothing the terrain. I was a bit alarmed, but it was just them. Anyway, I'm spending a lot of time doing more time than I wanted to. Like, stop, put the tool down and move on. We need a transport connection now, and what we'll do is we'll have a simple bus service in here, because let's be honest, Canmore isn't the biggest. So we'll just have a simple block loop here, which is where the buses will turn around like that, and then we want to send the bus back down here and then here, and then I'll do another sort of block loop just in this area, so the bus can come up, turn around, then head down this way. We already have the makings of a block loop at this side, which is excellent. So it's quite a long bus line when you consider each stop is a dual stop. That should be okay. Okay, now let's do this square block turnaround sort of thing. We'll keep it flat. We'll dig it into the mountain just a touch. There we go, and that should give us a nice turning point for the buses. Over here, as I said, we've got the starter one already. Although connecting to this road might be a bit awkward because the change in elevation. Let's see. Oh no, that doesn't look too bad, although that looks ridiculous and it's messed up this industry's plot of land. But that's for them to deal with. I'll just pretend I never saw it. Okay, let's get a bus depot, or a road vehicle depot I should say more accurately, which is that one there. And you, in fact we may as well put you just there, why not? Excellent, so now we can actually start the line. So you come this way, yep, and then you want to hit that station there, that one there, that one there, and then back out down the way. In fact, no, stop for a second. We'll put a couple of waypoints in here just to force the bus to use our turning circle, otherwise there's no point building it. So after Valley Street you want to hit that waypoint, there you go, and then you're just gonna double back on yourself all the way down. So South Street, and then Mill Street, 10th Street, Chestnut Street. So you are okay. Why don't you just go that way to turn around? That would be a lot nicer. And then you come back from there and back into Spring Street. Yep, perfect. So like I said, it is quite a long bus line. However, Canmore isn't the busiest, so we shouldn't see hundreds of people waiting. So this is bus service Canmore 01. Just check I followed my naming correct. Yes, I have. My naming convention, and yes, indeed I had. Okay, let's get some buses. Or some stagecoaches, I suppose is a more accurate way to describe them. And we'll go for 5. As I said, Canmore's not the largest town we have on the map, so we don't want to swamp them with stagecoaches. So now that that's done, we can actually start the Rocky Mountain line itself. So we're going to go from Cochrane out to Canmore and back for now. Obviously in the future this will be extended. Let's have a look. What colour do we want? I want a nice majestic, if that makes sense, sort of colour, a striking colour, because this is one of the primary lines in our network, hopefully. So we'll go for a nice sort of royal blue. Yes, that's a perfect colour for it. And this will be the Rocky Mountain Railway. He will have a very bespoke name, what doesn't fit in with our naming convention, because it's a pride of place sort of line, if that makes sense. Anyway, let's press on. The last thing I want to put in here is a connection from this single track here into the tracks here, so our train from the depot has easy access onto the Rocky Mountain Railway. So what we'll do, we'll just stretch it out just a touch further, get him parallel and where it looks nice, yes, a little bit more parallel running, and then we'll cross him straight over like that. Let's get our train, shall we? Locomotives. Shall we go for the Mogul just because we've unlocked it and I don't think we're using it yet, and it's different to what we have, so it stands out? I think so. For now you're only going to need 2 carriages. You're only going to Canmore, which is not the biggest town on our map, so we shouldn't have that much demand. So let's purchase him. We shall colour it blue, and because this is a special train, it's going to have a special name. This will be the... there you go, a little nod. I hope that's appreciated. It's my way of saying a little thank you. If anybody else would like to have a train named after them, I laughed then. I shouldn't laugh, no. Yes, if anybody else would like a train or a vehicle named after them, obviously leave a comment, that sort of thing, and I'll do my best to fit anyone who comments into future trains. You will all, hopefully, I'll try my very, very best, get a unique sort of train, a special sort of train, so it won't just be a generic lumber train, for example. It will be something worthy, such as our Rocky Mountain Railway train. Let's go ahead and have a look at him. Here's the Peter Ray now. It's got his own special coat of paint. It looks absolutely majestic, very sleek, very stylish. A very nice train indeed, and one befitting of Mr. Peter Ray, I am sure. Well, I think that's a decent place to leave the episode. Don't want to do too much at once. As I said, I am enjoying working at a bit of a slower pace this time around and just savouring the game and the map and the scenery, and not rushing through like we did at Coventry, because I think I mentioned that rushing is what I believe caused the downfall of the Coventry map in the end, and what caused all the traffic problems, if you remember, if you watched it, that we had at Gillingham. It was not paying due care and attention to my existing network, so I'm hoping to avoid that in this playthrough. So yes, I just want to thank you all for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a like. You could leave a comment if you have any suggestions, or as I said, if you want to get your name in the video and have a train named after you and become immortalised in the series and in the Let's Play. As I said, I'll go through them all and I'll do my level best to make sure you all get a fitting sort of vehicle. And if you are enjoying it and you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel if you are feeling so inclined. It does help out a lot, especially for a small channel such as my own, and it also helps me realise, or shows to me that there is an audience out there who are engaged, are enjoying it, and would like to see more. But all that being said, we come on to our farewells, so as always, ladies and gentlemen, you take the very best care of yourselves. It's ta-ta for now.